Tuesday, February 18, 2014. You're listening to FAWMtalk. I'm Ianuarius. With me, as always, the wonderful co-host, TC Elliott. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
Well, I'm pretty good. I just got another song finished, so that's always good. That's always
Sweet.
always good. How's your farm going?
I've been last night I worked on not bad. Last night I was working on two separate songs. One of them was a really quick kind of improv thing that I'm not very happy with, but I'll probably end up posting at some point. And then the second one I really don't like. So I'm a little frustrated with just stuff right now, but I've got a lot of corpses in the work and collabs and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
things are
corpses in the
I'm
work.
good. I'm good.
Oh man, I was just browsing the forum again. It's this. There's this thread called "Honest Feedback," which in itself it's quite a weird topic, I'd say. But it always raises up with form, and we've talked about this to a great length in the chat room. Um, People are telling me my mic is. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I was recording vocals again, and I forgot to turn up the mic again. Sorry about that, people. Hope you heard something what I was saying. So yeah, I was reading the forums, and there's this thread called "Honest Feedback," and it's something that always comes up with form, and it's a bit of a weird topic. Like what is honest feedback? Does honesty mean that you have to just say everything that comes to your mind? We've talked about this to great lengths with you in the chat
Yep.
room, and
Right.
it's something I feel very passionately about, and you because well, here's a post I wrote. It goes like this: I don't care about criticism. I know how I want my songs to be like. You don't need to act like you know better than me. That's not what this thing is about for me. I'm just doing my thing and sharing what I come up with. If you think that it could be better somehow, you can keep it to yourself. I really don't care. And that's something I feel about songs that are not that important to me, because I did a couple of those long proggy songs, and I really I'm not planning on releasing them on albums or anything like that. So I don't care if people don't like them, or if they think that there's something that could be fixed. They're fine to me, and if they aren't fine, I can sort of hear the things that I want to fix already. So uh, I don't really care about criticism when it comes to songs like that. Then again, with the heavy metal songs I'm doing currently, I plan on making an album out of those. So I care very much about what other people how they could contribute to the process, and the what kind of ideas they might have, what kind of things I might have missed that really like you can hear clearly in the songs. And already I've gotten some sort of feedback, but mainly the thing is that when I ask for criticism, people in general don't know what to say. I mean, a lot of guys said that all these songs sound just fine.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing. But
Yeah.
hmm,
Well, it's interesting having somebody say, hey, all right, um, I'd love for you to listen to my work. You can, and that would be great. Feedback is awesome, but uh, don't actually criticize the work.
hmm,
Pick it apart, or tell me what you think it should sound like. Um, you know, and then you go to another song, and it's like, okay, now I'm ready for you to tell me. I mean, I can definitely see how that's a little hard for, you know
yeah,
in some way. And I think I get your point a little better, but it really does come off, um, like don't tell me what to do type of an attitude, which I completely understand.
Hmm.
I completely understand it,
Yeah.
but it's kind of different from what I think most people um, give or expect in a comment, and it's difficult to go from an appreciation because I really like listening to your music, and and I want you to know the ones that I like, and so I comment, no problem. But then it's hard to put on and say, okay, now I'm going to critique the sounds and the clarity and the mix or whatever,
Yeah.
and and try to be helpful for something um, when it's been a year of just appreciation. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And then there are
So,
people like Nick Sipnivsky said that, respectfully, why are you here then? If you already are an expert songwriter who knows everything he needs to know and clearly never makes any mistakes when writing, then what's your purpose in hanging around all this with all these amateurs? If you think so little of the opinions you might get in a critique, that you as much as admit that your demos are shit, which you don't care about anyway. Why should anyone here listen to your songs? Um, this that's an interesting kind of take on this, because for me comments aren't equivalent of critique. If you comment on something, that doesn't mean that you have to critique on the thing. Why am I here? Why do I do FAWM? Well, FAWM is a fun community. I like the people here. I like sharing my songs, like I said. I don't expect critique, and I just I might do a fun song that I really like, and I'm gonna share it. I wanna like put it out there, like, hey, I did this kind of thing. Give it a listen. If you might enjoy it. It's a fun thing to do. And like I replied, why did Beatles write songs? Do you think they loved writing, playing, and sharing their passion with the world? And then I go and say I bet they just wanted criticism and to perfect their craft, which in itself is a weird thing when it comes to songwriting. You can't really perfect songwriting. You can't really like improve your songwriting in a sense that it's always an opinion. It's always someone's opinion whether a song is good or bad. If you do something, if somebody tells you, well, you just fix this with your song, and then you fix it, and someone else comes and tells, well, why did you ruin that song? It's always how are you trying to perfect the sort of really subjective thing?
yeah, but I mean, there's two ways to look at it, really. I mean, one is trying to get closer to what you hear in your head, and I think that's kind of what you're saying is I'm trying to get closer to what I hear or how I want it to be. And when you tell me, this or that, that doesn't really help me realize what I'm hearing. But the other thing is too, I think it's, and we've talked about it in the chat, but I think it can be very valuable to find out what does and doesn't work for other people. There's songs where I've hit, okay, this is exactly the way I want to write it. It may not sound perfect, but this is, and it doesn't strike a chord, so to speak, with anybody. It's just sits there and you get a couple of comments. It's like, oh, okay, I like that silly skirmish song that you made funny a lot better. I mean, that's basically what you're getting when you get some of those comments. And that just, I don't know, it is valuable sometimes to see how people take something, what they think works and what they think doesn't, or the things that other musicians hear. And it's kind of weird in FAWM because we're not really playing, our music isn't getting listened to by listeners, they're getting listened to by songwriters.
Yeah.
And that critique by itself, or that appreciation, or whatever comments you get, is different than what you'll get, I think, from the average listener, which can be good and bad, because I think most of us understand that the demo doesn't have to be perfect in order for the song to come through. where the typical person on the radio, if it's got static in it, or if there's a bum note here or there, or if it's not in time in a place or two, that's what they just go, okay, there's something that's not professional about this. They don't really listen to the song. Yeah. On the other hand, it's really hard to get a true opinion of somebody who doesn't critique, doesn't listen to parts. I find myself all the time, if there's a song, I'm listening to what the bass line does and what the vocals do, and it's very hard to just listen to the song with that. Even on the radio, my wife hates it, where I'm listening to a song and I say, oh, that modulation right there was, really cool. And she's like, what are you talking about? It's just a fun beer drinking song. And I'm, it's like, well, and did you hear how the background vocals came in on that last chorus to give it a little bit extra energy? And she's like, what are you? Just shut up. You're ruining the song.
I know what you mean. Yeah. And it's hard when you're so close to the craft because mixers really can't listen to music without concentrating on the bass, the levels of the bass, and how the engineer in a song mixed the vocals or something similar. It's really difficult, and same goes to film and other types of other forms of entertainment. Like I've watched a lot of film reviews by people who make films themselves, and they critique the weirdest things, like the stock sound effects and composition of scenes and that sort of things that I normally wouldn't even consider when watching a film. That's a great point. It's really difficult to give some sort of to just appreciate a song when you're so close to the craft. And Tim in the chat room is saying, well, can you feedback without at least considering a song critically? Feedback without that is just applause. And I guess that's true. But comments really aren't the same as feedback either. Comments are just comments. Like, I listened to the song, I want to say this. It's not I want to give you this feedback or something along those lines. And without giving any critique, yeah, sure, I can agree it's just applause. Is there something wrong with that? I don't think so. And I don't really necessarily even expect people to comment my songs. If they feel like they need to somehow make my songs better, then they can just shut up. But and that's the thing, really. It's not that you give critique. If people request critique, it's fine. Just you can give critique, and it can be helpful. But with my some of my songs, like those progressive songs, I'm not looking for critique. I had fun doing them, and then I finished them and I put them on the internet, just like here, I did this. Give it a listen if you want. If you don't, then whatever. But with my other songs, I request critique. So I want people to give their like 2 cents and maybe point out some things I didn't notice. It's the thing when you give feedback when the person doesn't want it. I just consider it rude.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but you don't want. I guess the question is, you don't want to know in that prog rock song that you're not especially wanting a critique for. You're not wanting to know what works or what doesn't work or what other people hear about it. But then when it comes to a different song, you may want to know what their opinions are, what they hear.
Yeah, but with prog rock songs, it's not really a matter of what works. When I listened to that my first song, the 28-minute song, I really just enjoy the whole song. If there is a point that just sticks out to me, like, oh, that doesn't feel right, I might go in there and fix that and give it another render. But I really do those songs mainly for myself. I don't really think there's nothing wrong with them.
Okay. Well, I think that it's hard to expect listeners at FAWM not to especially when they're commenting and they want to, have that interaction, not to say something that's going to be a critique. It's hard. And, even I, after talking to you, have a hard time discerning, okay, what exactly do you want me to say? And it took me a while before I realized that you literally don't care if I say anything at all. A simple, hey, dude, I listen is pretty good. And some people, that's a whole nother, conversation, but sometimes that's not enough for people. They do want some sort of feedback, some sort of interaction with the listener.
Yeah, absolutely. And mainly... So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, mainly, if people want to write something, I'm interested in what kind of emotions, what kind of imagery my song evoked in them. So that's not really feedback. That's not really critique. That's just, I listened to your song. It made me think of a time when I was with my dad as a kid, or something along those lines. It's just telling me something the song did for those people, how they heard the song, because it might be completely different to how I heard the song, what it did to me, or even what I intended to do with the song, what I intended to do with the story. People might take the lyrics and come up with a completely different story that I did. So that's really interesting to me.
I got you, and that makes sense. I just, I think you see that in the conversation. It's going to be very hard to get the average FAWM listener to understand what type of comment a particular song or a particular person is going to need.
Yeah.
And that's, it's not like you said it in a thread, what you wanted, and then you got a little bit of flack for that. And I think that they kind of misrepresented your stance and your point fairly deeply when they said that, you think that your stuff's perfect or it doesn't need improvement, and that's not what you're saying. You were just saying that you don't care on this particular song. You don't care what other people see as an imperfection. You can judge it fine. It's not meant for a release or for a critique. That's different than saying it's perfectly done and it's a perfect song. And I think that's I think that's a valid viewpoint. I think it is a very you're in the minority on that, but I think it is a valid viewpoint.
Yeah, and it's not really like I'm battling against these people. I know that you can't expect people not to critique and everyone just to read everything you want and follow your orders or something. I know that there are gonna be people who are just gonna say whatever they feel like, and that's fine. But if I tell my viewpoint to others, they might there might be even one person that goes like, huh, okay, and it changes their behavior in some way. It might be just like, well, I never thought about that, and then they just might not they might comment in a different manner next time.
Gotcha.
So it's a difficult thing, and it comes down to my personality a little bit too, because I'm not that self-confident when it comes to critique, because I want to do everything perfectly. I'm that kind of person, and there's one other internet, well, really a lot bigger internet personality than me, Total Biscuit, whose videos I follow religiously, and he's the kind of person that just can't handle that. And I'm not saying that is a bad way. It's just I'm the same way, but and he's a huge personality in internet, and he does daily gaming videos, and people just trash those videos day in day out. It's 24/7. There are people who just say, "Go kill yourself and stop doing videos," and "Oh my God, that was so painful," and it just drives him crazy. He's like 30 years old and he's already got gray hair and is overweight, possibly only due to the stress the show causes him. But he loves doing those videos. Obviously, it's really obvious that he loves doing his job, and he's making a good living doing just YouTube videos. and but he can't. He disabled the comments in all his YouTube videos because he can't read them. He gave his Twitter account to some other person in the company to manage. His Reddit page, he doesn't read that anymore because he just can't. Even if you have like 1,000 comments giving you praise and like just saying like good job and don't care about what the haters say, if there's one person that goes like, oh my god, that was painful, that was horrible video, it's just, it ruins his day. He said it keeps him awake at night. So it's really not even the intention what a critique is given. That person who said that was painful, he might have meant it as a like a just a neutral comment, neutral feedback. Like you could improve your videos, but it doesn't come off that way. It ruins people's lives. So
well,
that's
some people. Some people are just out there to be trolls.
Yeah.
You know, and I think there's a difference between saying that was painful, which in FAWM anyway, is very, very rare that you get something
that's
that brutal, and saying, hey, this piece right here, this bit right here was a little abrupt, or this piece right here, I like this, and this part of your song, the guitars or the transitions or whatever, but then over here it didn't flow quite as smoothly. I mean, I think for me, to me, knowing that and having somebody say that's, I may or may not want it, but it doesn't mean that they're trying to pick apart the song. They're just giving you the feedback of this is what worked for me and what didn't work for me. And the attempt to try to keep somebody from saying that is harder and more stressful for me than it would be to just take it as for what it is. It's just a real quick comment on the FAWM and then go on about my day. Yeah. And I understand where you're coming from. I understand what you're saying, but like in the example you gave with this dude on the video, it's like, man, if you get 100 good comments and one bad comment and that's keeping you up at night, that's somebody being a troll on the internet. That's not, if you're going to base your well-being on somebody who's going to hate no matter what you do, then that's a personal issue. That's not a feedback issue.
Well, true. That's certainly true. But like, he released a video today, 20 hours ago, and it's already got 176,000 views. And if for every 100 comments there's one like troll comment or that sort of comment, that's still like almost 2,000 horrible comments. So, but that's still 1%. I mean, can you imagine writing a song and having it go out there and having 98 or 99% of the people actually like the song? That would be unheard of. I mean, it's unreal. And if it is, it's probably a bubblegum song that is going to get on half of our nerves after a while. You know what I'm saying? But still,
it's very hard to do that.
2,000 people just trashing your stuff, it's gonna get to you, no matter who you are. If 2,000 people
I see what you're saying.
Like, go kill yourself, then it's giving death threats and stuff like that. It's gonna stick.
But how many thousands were in support? It's still 1%.
Yeah,
I mean, if
it
you
doesn't
dwell
matter.
on 1%,
It really doesn't matter at all, because he says like you can give as many praise as you like. He's not gonna look at those comments. He's gonna glaze upon, just go over them. Like, yeah, okay, great, and then he gets to the one comment. It really drags him down. Like, me too.
Well, like I said, that one negative comment. If you've got and it's different on FAWM. So, but if that dude's got 1%, I don't care if it's 1,000,000 comments that are negative. If you've got 99% and there's 99 times as many good comments. If you're going to dwell on the 1% with that much feedback and that much good support, then sorry, I mean, that's life. That's the internet. And trying to control that, if that's what he has to do, I'm more power for him. I'm not saying he's wrong or whatever. That's on him. But I mean, if we go through life trying to control people like that and just eliminate all the haters from our life on the internet of all places, we're going to have a hard struggle. It's going to be tough.
Well, it is a hard struggle, and I can't imagine what he's going through, because I've never gotten 100 or 200,000 views on anything, so I can't imagine what his life must be like. But that's really how we're built. Like Tim says, that's the way we're made. We're gonna concentrate on the negative. That's always true.
Hey, I understand. I don't, if I would be that way too, it would not make me happy. But the simple point is, there's a point where you say, if the comment is, this was painful, if that's the comment, then there's no value in that. It doesn't say what about it was painful. It doesn't tell you anything constructive whatsoever. That's just a troll. But if you get something that somebody says, hey, I enjoyed watching your video, but this right here, didn't work for me, that's completely different than.
Of course.
And you may not want to hear it, but that's still a critique.
I agree. So, well, if we just don't consider the trolls at all and just concentrate on the criticism, well, you're absolutely true. You're absolutely right about that thing, and I think there is a value to be had in criticism, especially if you ask for it. But it can be hurtful, and that's due to, of course, the shortcomings of the person like me. That those kind of comments hurt me. But
I got you.
That's
and that's.
What I was coming to
with
the Total Biscuits analogy is that the things that people say, you can't just go like, well, you can't just not listen. If there's music playing in the background, you can't just decide, okay, I'm not going to listen to this music.
No, but we can choose how much it affects us or how much value we put on it.
No. Actually, no, we can't.
I think
it comes from within, really. How much something affects you. You can work on that, absolutely, but it's not just like, I'm just not gonna fear heights anymore. It's not that kind of thing.
But that's different. I mean, I see what you're saying. You're saying that if I have a reaction to this, then that's a true reaction. And that's great. I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you. But how much importance you put on that? I mean, I'm afraid of heights. I really am. But it doesn't. I try to fight it sometimes, and sometimes I just don't go up on that ladder. And I've gotten better through my life. It has gotten better. I'm still deathly afraid when you get me to a certain point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's terrible. But the point is, I may be afraid of heights, but I can control if it ruins my life or not. I have that control. It may be very hard, and it may be very difficult for me compared to you, or vice versa. But how much weight I put on that is ultimately, it's my choice. And I understand it's very difficult. I understand it's not easy. But if I continue to put the weight on those and allow it to ruin my life, ultimately it may be something that I dislike. It may be something that I hate. But if I let it ruin my life, if that's the one thing that I do, then ultimately that was my interpretation. That's on me. You can't control other people. You can't force other people to do what you can't.
I might agree with you, and to a certain degree, that kind of comment, the amount of value you give them or how much you allow them to affect your life. I don't know if maybe to a degree you can like control it and just go, well, I'm not going to care about that comment. But there's a little bit of it always gets through. I think that a little bit of it always gets through. And if there's 1,000 people, I'm not saying in FAWM that's the case, but if there's 1,000 people telling you and always a little bit gets through, you can have a thick skin, but thick skin doesn't mean like impenetrable.
Yeah, and I see what you're saying, definitely. And it's not, I'm not trying to imply that anybody, because there are people that really take it to heart. And your example with the video guy, and I think is a very good example. It's not, I mean, for that person, the way to control it is not to read it. And I understand that not everybody works the same way. But likewise, most people that are saying, and like from what you're saying is, I don't want to critique, is most people are saying in the best intentions, this is what did or didn't work for me. This is what I hear.
Yeah.
And that if that affects you, I mean, you just using you as an example, if that affects you to the point where it makes you feel poorly, but that's the same type of comment they're giving to every other farmer on the site.
Yeah.
It makes it, it's really hard for them to have a specific way of they commenting just for you compared to other people. That does become personal. If that makes sense.
I do understand that, and like I said, I understand people are not going to change their behavior because of me, but I might get to someone might just go, and maybe change how they see the world a little bit. It's not a huge deal, but it's definitely an interesting topic.
Yeah, or look at it from a different perspective. I can understand that.
Yeah. Well, that went fast. Okay. Well, let's play some music to end the show with. We got Barbara with the song "Golden Door" here. We're gonna end the show with that, and we'll of course be returning tomorrow. So,
all right.
Yeah. Until next time, write some great songs, people.
Stop knocking on the golden door. Don't tell me not to come no more. Once I'm knocking on the golden door, there's no stopping what I've come here for. Was my heart done for? Found what I was missing and so much more. Laid him in loving someone love was for. Found what I was missing and so much more. How many hours and forevermore? Thought it would be longer, but I think it's over. How many promises are washed ashore? Mine's on the bottom of the ocean floor. Stop knocking on the golden door. Don't tell me not to come no more. Once I'm knocking on the golden door, there's no stopping what I've come here for. Won't stop knocking on the golden door. Don't tell me not to come no more. Once I'm knocking on the golden door, there's no stopping what I've come here for.